We're going to be looking at the process by which you'll get your product for your kiosk. And I'm going to be using calendars as the sample product. You'll want to list each one of the items that you sell separately. In my case, I'm just going to have a single product, so just one calendar with different animals. But perhaps I would have a calendar of kittens, and another calendar with puppies, and another calendar with turtles. Well, that would be 3 separate line items, and I would track sales for each calendar. In this case, though, I'm just going to have the one. And as I'm looking at wholesale suppliers, I would want to keep a wide variety of things in mind. Do they have a good reputation? Where are they located, and how long does it take to get product from them? Are there additional charges that would need to be covered? Are they shipping from outside the United States where there are tariffs or import taxes involved? That would also significantly add to shipping. With your payment options, do they want money up front? Are they willing to? Most will want money up front. Will they let you do net 30, so that can you wait 30 days before paying, or 90 days? If you could do 90 days, well then you could very easily have sold all of the product before you actually have to pay for it, so you'd be paying it out of your profits. If you don't sell something, will they allow you to return? And if so, is there a fee for that? Some companies include display materials or display fixtures, and that might help to attract people to your kiosk. So there's a lot of things that you want to take into consideration. Then you start looking at your locations, and in this case I've decided that I'm going to go to forimprint.com, and I saw calendars, and this first calendar, I like the fact that it's a spiral bound rather than stapled, and I like that price, so I want to click on more info, and then I can adjust this. Out of 300, it's going to be $1.39 each calendar, and I want 1,000 calendars, so I'm looking at $1.19 per calendar and a total of $1,190. Now in this case they do an imprint, and this would allow you to customize the front base of the calendar. And what I think I would want to do is I want to imprint that a specific portion of the proceeds for this calendar are going to be given to imagewild.org as a donation for animal protection. You'd set up your imprint, and you'd take care of all of the charges that are in place and anything else that they have. In this case, there's a setup charge. I wouldn't need to do the rush charge because I'm ordering it far enough in ahead. And any other charges that they would have in addition to that, you'd need to keep in mind. I like the calendar. It has lots of pretty animals. The price works. So I would go ahead and order. Then I need to figure out how many calendars I need to sell in order to break even. So my first step is to consider what my startup costs will be. Well, let's see, what have I got? I'm going to have a display that I'm going to be putting together. I figure I'll probably spend about $1,000 getting that all set. Now I've already entered 3 for the total months that you'll be doing this, but this would work depending upon what you had in mind for any months. In our case, we want to be able to cover our startup costs over the course of the 3 months that we're going to have the kiosk. So we divide the startup costs by 3. And I've already done the setup for you in Excel. The only thing you need to worry about is the yellow cells. You don't do anything with any of the other cells, just yellow cells. What's another item that would possibly be something I need to consider in my startup? A cash register. I'll just buy a used one. Let's see. A display, cash register. I think I'm set. Oh, deposit of $1,000. I'll get part of that back, but I need to have that up front. So that automatically drops into, in fact, I'm going to make that not filled. That automatically drops into my startup cost, so I don't even have to think about that. For my location, it's $500 or $5,000 for November and December, and an additional $1,000 for October. So that's a total of $6,000, which is $2,000 a month. Then if I look down in row 28, I can see it says include all expenses associated with the location, including insurance, utilities, lease payments, etc. So we have $2,000 for our lease. Insurance is going to run us about $100 a month, and electricity I'm going to say is about $100 a month. So $2,200. Not going to need a vehicle. I already have a cash register. I don't need a separate computer. I can't imagine I'm going to need too many supplies, but I'm going to say, actually I'll say $50, just in case. And then in case I want to freshen my display or make some changes throughout those 3 months, maybe some new signs and things, then I'm going to say $100 a month. So that brings my monthly expenses to $3,083 and some change. So my next thing that I need to determine is the hours that I'm going to work per day. Okay, well, I'm going to be there from open to close every day. That's what I'm planning on. I will likely have an employee, but that would go toward cost of goods sold. So for right now, I'm just going to count me. So I would need to be there about 12 hours a day, so 9 a.m. to about 9 p.m. Days per week, it's only 3 months. I'm going to be there every day. Weeks worked per month, every week, so thereabouts. So I'm going to be working approximately 336 hours in the month. That means I need to charge at least $9.18 just to meet my expenses. I'm selling calendars, and I think the market will allow me to sell my calendar for $14.99. So the maximum monthly income that I would be able to get is approximately $5,000. And yet my expenses will be approximately $3,000. So I'm doing fine. I'm going to be able to cover my expenses. Well, let's look at the variable cost of goods sold so we can determine break even. My calendar is a single item, and it is going to cost me $7. Actually, what was it? $1, and let's include shipping and everything. So I'm going to say about $1.70 wholesale. And I like to be able to see the zero. And here it's by number of units made, and you want to hopefully be able to do one in that space. There are a few times you'll need to use a different number. Let's say, for example, you're doing cookies, and it's too hard to figure out the actual cost of a single cookie, and the flour for a single cookie, and the baking soda for a single cookie, etc. So by figuring out the cost for a dozen cookies, then you can divide that by 12. So in our case, cost per unit is about $1.70. Items to include, let's see if we can get this in here. You're including the materials, freight and shipping. You're including any storage charges and labor costs for anyone who produces the product. And then any factory overhead expenses. So if you were making cookies, you'd have oven costs and electricity or gas. You wouldn't include any discounts you got because that would be entered as a separate line item. Then you come to break-even analysis, and the only item that you're going to enter here is the sales price. So I expect my calendar to sell for $14.99. And that would mean that I need to sell 232 calendars per month in order to reach my break-even point. So what I would like you to do is I would like you to complete this Excel worksheet based on the products that you're going to be selling. If you are selling more than one line item, you would enter each one separately, and then you would divide by the number of units. So that would be divided by 2. Hopefully you're keeping it nice and simple. You have one single item and you're not having to get into a lot of complication. It's going to save you a ton of work in the long run, but you'll still be able to learn the process that's involved. Let me know if you have questions.